Hey everybody, welcome back to Fantasy Overwatch Underground. I know it's been a few weeks at the start of the season. What's this guy doing? Why no content? What a bum. Unsubscribe me right now. I just had a kid. Give me some slack, alright? I was a little bit ahead on the married man meta. I'm a little bit ahead on the having a kid meta. So appreciate the patience. It's been fantastic. If there's any dads out there in YouTube comments, let me know. Let's talk kid stuff. I could go on way too long about that, but that's not why you're here. I want to get straight to the point. We've got some content to unpack here. Now, I know we're right on the tail end of the fantastic countdown clash, kickoff clash, whatever we call it. I really enjoyed watching, although I'm still catching up watching some matches. So I'm not going to directly address that. And that's not what I do here anyway, right? Most everybody's watching this stuff, so I want to unpack some of APAC that you might have missed. A few things that have overall Overwatch impact, as well as fantasy implications. Deep dives into some things that you may not have seen. So let's get to it. First player we're looking at today is Smurf. Now, Seoul has taken the somewhat controversial approach of not having two tanks on their team. They said they're going to ride with Smurf. And, you know, as opposed to other top teams like the Dragons, like the Fuel, they have roster overload with amazing tank players, many of which are not seeing the stage all that much, or they're seeing split time. And I have a feeling that Seoul are the correct ones here that are building their team for the future. Now, not to say that the Dragons shouldn't have kept Void and Fate, the Fuel shouldn't have kept Hanbin and Fearless. I think they did the right thing. But I think long term we're going to find out that Smurf is the future of Overwatch League. He did have a rough week 3, but outside of that, he's looked really good on the off-tank heroes. So we're going to unpack this one a little bit. He gets a read on where the Fusion are at, and he has an extremely aggressive grab approach here. Hides out, knows exactly, gets the call out from his team, and grabs Fury. And then he stands and uses both of his bubbles to stand in between Fury and his teammates to prevent any healing, and his team takes down Fury. Really aggressive, really smart play, and we're starting to see some creativity. Now, you aren't seeing like amazing mechanics on this particular play, but Smurf is showing the smarts to play Zarya, and you know what? He also does have the mechanics to do so. We have what I think is an even more interesting grab call here. We get a really nice overhead view, and where's Smurf at? Smurf is in the front line over here. You'll see him, and he's got the Widow duel going on, and they've also used Infravision. So he knows exactly what's going on. He advances forward in a really aggressive manner, and he's playing in a very aggressive form of Zarya. So he right-click jumps, and once again blocks off far away from the healing of his team, using a grab to separate out his opponents. And his team immediately wins out the fight. Krong is kind of trapped on his own, in line of sight of Fitz as they're advancing. So for me, it's a really smart, aggressive grab, and it's just perfectly timed. If we go back briefly, we've got Krong up here, and kind of as he's getting into line of sight of Fitz is when Smurf goes ahead and makes the move and grabs both supports in the back line. Just, you know, once again, this isn't exactly a mechanics play here. It's just genius 5-head level play, use of ult, body blocking, doing all the things that what I guess a tank should be doing in Overwatch 2. Last thing he does is he's got such good vision. Develop goes on the flank, and you'll see that while he's at the front line, he instead moves to the side window here, and he absorbs basically an entire tac visor. Arguably, Develop could have, you know, used his ult a little bit differently, but the idea of the flank and the backline tac visor was correct. It's just Smurf read it out, and he body blocked the doorway, and Develop got stuck trying to run by him and couldn't even do that. So once again, Smurf is main tanking on Zarya, if we can say that, completely absorbing an ult, single-handedly getting the charge, and just burning down Develop really quickly. Love it. Even though in these 3 particular clips you don't see the amazing tracking, Smurf does have enough mechanics to play this hero well. And I think we haven't seen a lot of main tanks play Zarya to this degree, but I'm starting to lose that blend between flex tank, main tank, when I see main tank Zarya play like this. In quick conclusion on Smurf, we know he's got a good Winston. We've known that for a long time. When we see him pulling out the Zarya, he's also played, he's busted out the Sigma, which he's looked pretty decent on. And then APAC isn't really playing Doomfist, but in the few moments when he's kind of played that in desperation, he's actually been able to swing some team fights and has shown some impact there. So I'm seeing the flexibility from him that I want to see. Diva doesn't seem to be meta, and we haven't seen Smurf tested on that, but man, he's looking good. He's looking like the real deal. And I think, once again, like I said before, he is that kind of hyperflex tank player that we are expecting or hoping for out of our Overwatch 2 players. So let's move on to everybody's least favorite APAC team right now, the Guangzhou Charge. They have had a rocky start, but I'm not here to dump on the Charge. We're here to unpack a little bit of their DPS play. I'm well documented as being a huge Choi Se-won believer. In the minimal stats that are available to us, we've seen he is once again just looking amazing. Choi Se-won does it all. Tracer, flex DPS. What he lacked last year was a strong hit scan counterpart. And with Eileen still on the team, Develop got his chance to shine here. And I think he has done absolutely that. Now, he is a little bit of a one-dimensional player so far, in that he's only been playing the hit scan, but he's been playing Hanzo, Soldier, Reaper, Ashe. There was a little bit of Sombra in there, which in general, I'm not a fan of Sombra at all. I don't think he looked great on Sombra. We haven't seen the Tracer, but we aren't going to see that while Choi Se-won is on the team. And then what I've most seen is his Widow play. He has been hard forcing the Widow, and he's generally been pretty successful on it. So if we go back, Prophet is kind of out scouting out a little bit. Develop knows where he's at, gets the idea of where he's gone, and he actually goes and takes the duel here with Prophet. I don't think he's 100% sure Prophet's going to be here, but he's absolutely ready for it, where Prophet is not. This is not a typical Prophet mistake that you see where he walks around a corner instead of blinking around it, but it shows a little bit of a lack of respect for Develop and a little bit of surprise, and you see it even on his face right there. Love the reaction. Prophet not quite ready for this one. So Develop caused that. Not every day that you get Prophet showing that face in a 1v1 DPS, but Develop a very nice Widow play right there. If we continue on, we got a clip here where he gets a nasty shot on Fleta, pressures down on Ruins, and what we're really here to see is his anti-Lucio play. Not a lot of players can make this kind of move, so while we watch this clip on loop, clearly he's got some pretty sick hit scan mechanics here, right? Now, we've seen those kinds of mechanics from guys like my Kaylee and such, but we haven't seen it from those types of players in a match on game day, especially against the Dragons. So what I'm seeing from Develop is a very good counterpart to Choi Se-won, and I actually think the Charge have a very good DPS lineup. So before we fully write this team off as being garbage here, we have to note that Develop and Choi Se-won, I'm not going to sit here and rank them against like the Dragons DPS lineup, but this DPS lineup can do some damage. I'm not quite well read enough to say where I'd rank them against all the other teams, but they're very good, and we can't ignore that fact. In this particular meta, Unique is not a strong Lucio player, and I think that's really held the Charge back. If they're able to get to a non-Lucio meta, I do believe the Charge will look much better. And shockingly enough, I think Krong on the Zarya has not been all that great, and it could just be overall team meshing. It could be overall coaching. But right now, the weak links of this team, I believe, are Krong and Unique. I'm a Faraway fan. I thought he's looked fine. Not as amazing as I might have hoped, but he's looked respectable. So, with a meta change, keep an eye on the Charge. Those players could have some value that they don't have today, mainly driven by their awesome DPS duo. Last but not least, we have who might be the last player I would have thought I would have any interest in, and that is WhoRu. It's been a long time. He was one of those guys who, in the first time I saw him, I was a little bit late to the draw. I eventually went back and rewatched a lot of his play, but on Fusion Uni, when they had one of their first LAN events, he just crushed on Genji. Basically completely took over matches. But the thing is, he was, 15, 16 years old. And his debut in Overwatch League and then benchwarming for the Dragons is well documented at this point. I kind of figured he was washed, that he was done, and I didn't know why the Dragons had him. But the Dragons have been struggling a little bit this year. And part of that is there's been a heavy Genji meta, and I'm not going to blame WhoRu for this, but it's Fleta who's a little bit of an issue for them right now. WhoRu has been better on the Genji, And I would actually argue that the Dragons have looked better when WhoRu has been in on Genji than when they've run Fleta-based lineups. So WhoRu, if we look at this specific clip one more time and break it down, he pulls the blade and Fitz is immediately expecting the dash and he uses the grappling hook. So WhoRu shows that he waits that half second that he needs to bait the cooldown, and he takes down Fitz when his own Widow is already down. So overall, just, it's really interesting. You see Smurf take down Lip. I don't know if WhoRu is exactly going in on the initiative of his Widow being in trouble, but undoubtedly hearing that in comms, and makes the play where he takes down the opposing Widow. He takes down the opposing Ana and gives his team a fighting chance in this team fight. So really smart play. Not exactly like one of those crazy 5K mechanics blades, but what I want to see from WhoRu, I've seen those mechanics from him in the past. I know they exist. I want to see the patience. I want to see the intelligence. One more WhoRu play, and one of my favorite clips that I have seen, he gets a very nice deflect kill. And so as Fusion is pressuring Hotel here, very nice play from MN3 to take down Void, and there's now a 4v5 situation. Izayaki with a very nice sleep here on Fixa to give the Dragons a small window of time here to make a play. Although Izayaki's purple, things are looking pretty rough here. Lip is also a little bit low. So with the tank down, the team comes up and, you don't need a tank when you can reflect all the damage back at the enemy team. So Zest, who at this point is well documented as being a very, very good rookie, comes in and tries to make the play, and it backfires very quickly when WhoRu is just, not necessarily mechanically, but brain usage wise, something, I don't know the phrase. My brain's dead. I'm on little sleep here with a baby. He uses the deflect. He takes down both MN3 and Aim God in a really nice play and turns a 4v5, takes the small window that Izayaki's given him on the sleep, and they turn that around. Lip cleans up with the support there from WhoRu. So a really nice play. WhoRu, while he may be a Genji one trick here, he has played the Tracer, not something that I've seen enough time to rate, or anything where he's been Lip-like in that he's immediately had an impact on that hero. But his Genji is really good, and so long as Genji is meta, he's going to be playing. This isn't, giving him time off the bench just to keep him warm or to make him feel good. Their best look is when WhoRu is on the Genji and that hero is being played. So the Dragons have some things to sort out, but WhoRu is more than pulling his weight. I do kind of hope we see more of him. And from a fantasy perspective, we have to rate Fleta a little bit lower, but we'll also have to keep a very close eye on whether or not Genji remains meta. With Soldier being nerfed in the upcoming patch, who knows? I'm not a crystal ball reader. I just like to watch some good Overwatch, and once the meta sorts itself out, we'll work from there. But WhoRu has some value, and Fleta is not taking a nosedive, but definitely less valuable than we all had him ranked at the start of the season. That does it. Those three players, Smurf, Develop, and WhoRu. Not who you thought you were getting a video of, but that's what I do here on Fantasy Underground. We look at some of the lesser discussed topics. I hope you enjoy this highly boring, highly analytical content. Shout out to the people who helped me collect these clips, because I'm not as on top of things as I'd like to be, given I have a baby who is much cooler and much better than Overwatch 2. But, thanks again to those that helped to make this video. I'll keep the content coming. I'm going to be a little bit tired with bags under the eyes. I'll need some help from my fantastic communities that I leech off of, as well as my own here. And you'll see some more coming. It'll be a little bit slower, a little bit less frequent, but it's still coming. I love doing this stuff. Just not as much as I love hanging out with the baby. So we'll talk more soon. Thanks for watching.